being uncomfortable isn't bad. Being too comfortable is bad. And what I mean by that is it gets really easy to repeat bad habits when you're too comfortable. For example, you may have chores throughout the day that you have to do, but you end up finding yourself that you put these things off very easily. And this creates a very lazy, unmotivated person. So this means you're too comfortable in the situation that you're in. For example, you also may find yourself eating too much junk food because it's what you're used to, and you don't care to change your diet. You're too comfortable in your diet, and when you eat bad, you feel bad because you are what you eat. Putting all these bad things in your body, it makes you feel really shitty sometimes throughout the day, and sometimes you can't even focus because you just feel so terrible. Your body isn't reacting so good to these things that you put in it. Therefore, your mind just doesn't feel as good. It's a correlation. Um, you might even find yourself doom scrolling, wasting time, and you end up unmotivated to do things because you really learn nothing throughout the couple of hours that you've been scrolling through your phone. And, you know, that just means you're too comfortable in wasting time, in being unmotivated, in being lazy, in eating junk food. You're too comfortable doing these things that you shouldn't be doing, building these bad habits. And what I mean by being uncomfortable isn't a bad thing is that you naturally find a way to make yourself feel comfortable in what's making you uncomfortable. So, for example, you could be someone that wants to learn how to talk to people in public or approaching people. You may be very afraid of rejection, but you know, the more you practice these things and you get out of your comfort zone, you know, subconsciously you're doing a bunch of critical thinking where you may be feeling very uncomfortable, and naturally over time you find a way to make yourself feel better in the things that make you feel uncomfortable. You learn to take risks. um, like I said, you practice critical thinking, and that's what I mean by being uncomfortable isn't a bad thing. For example, like making content. When I first started recording myself, I felt pretty cringy, and I felt like this probably isn't going to go anywhere. But over time, I learned that honestly, it doesn't even matter. I'm just going to end up doing these things because it's something that I've thought about doing. And eventually, I thought, whatever, I'm just going to do these things because it's what I want to do. And I learned that when something it's stuck in your head, throughout the day, every single day, and you don't act on it, you feel terrible. You feel like you're wasting time. You may feel unmotivated because this is something in your head that you haven't been doing, but you know that you should be doing or that you want to be doing. I learned that when you think of these things, you have to act on it immediately. Act on it the same day because then, eventually I started feeling better about posting content or recording myself, even though it made me feel very uncomfortable. Like I said, you find a way to do some critical thinking. You find a way to make yourself comfortable in what makes you uncomfortable. And that's really what I mean. Being uncomfortable isn't a bad thing. Being too comfortable is a bad thing. Um, that's really what I wanted to get at today. Hopefully, I conveyed my message well, but hopefully, you learned something. When you think of something, act on it immediately. When you're feeling too comfortable, make yourself uncomfortable. Do the things that you've been wanting to do that have been stuck inside your head. That's all I pretty much have for today. Hope you have a good one.